Welcome once again to your weekly update from the city of New Hope. Time again to chat with the mayor, Kathi Hemken, to find out what's new in the city. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. I'm just fine. A little warm out there today, but that's summer.
And warmer to come for a couple days. So
Yeah.
be ready out there. Keep that air conditioning running. We've got a lot to talk about in the city this week, and we're going to start with a honor for a area senator. Tell us a little bit about the recent honor for Senator Ann Rest.
Well, Ann Rest is our senator in New Hope. She's also got the other cities around us, but she lives in New Hope, so I claim her as mine. And she was the head of the tax committee this year, and the League of Minnesota Cities gave her a legislator of distinction in 2023. That's a really big deal because there's 838 member cities in the League of Minnesota Cities, and they're only giving out 35 of these awards. So it's a pretty big deal. We're pretty proud of her for that.
Congratulations to Senator Rest. All right, we're going to spend a little time talking about Highway 169. A lot of activity, as residents know. First, Mayor, let's talk about bridges, one that's underway and another one that is coming in the future. First, the one that's underway. How are things going?
Well, 42nd Avenue. So most of the work this last couple of weeks has been in the Plymouth part of it. And they've got the pier in. It was put in, I believe, when they closed down 169 this last weekend. So one of the piers is in. There'll be more closures on that. Just kind of keep your eyes open for that. They're telling us they're on schedule, that it's going to be probably November until it's open. So hang in there.
That's right. All right, let's move a little bit further south. 36th Avenue, some discussion going on there, something to put on your calendar coming up next year.
Well, they tell me that about 60% of the plans are completed. This is the bridge over 169 at 36. So they certainly won't take that bridge down before 42nd is finished. Right. People can't get in and out of it if they do. But do keep in mind that 36th will have the same problems that 42nd is now, but that'll probably be in 2024. They're not giving us any dates on when that's going to happen, but just keep it in mind.
All right, let's move to the north on 169 now, up by 62nd. Some work going on the side of the road there, but it's affecting a ramp to that road. Tell us more.
So on 169 between Bass Lake Road and 62nd, that's in New Hope, they're putting in a noise wall. And when they're doing that, they've closed down the ramp. So if you're westbound on Bass Lake Road, you cannot go north on 169. You have to take another way in there. Honestly, it's gotten so if you get into New Hope, you can't get out.
Yes, that is true at some point, right? So be patient out there, but brighter days to come.
They're telling us that that's probably going to be closed till mid-November.
Okay, so a little bit of time here. Very good. Let's move on to community development. A lot to touch on here. We'll get to scattered site. But first, there's going to be a big bus traveling around New Hope for a very good reason. And I understand this is an annual occurrence.
It is. It's our bus tour. And what we want to do is we want to show all of our commissioners, the Planning Commission and the Human Rights Commission. We want to show all those commissioners what's going on in the city, because they know what's going on in the part that they deal with. But even like the Citizens Advisory Commission, they don't get to see all the stuff. And it's kind of a thank you to them. So we put them on a bus with the electives and the directors and the new city manager will be there, some staff. And we drive the bus around New Hope and show them all the things that are happening. So if you see this big bus in the neighborhood, you'll know what they're doing. We kind of slow down and look at the celebrity houses. So if you had some work done on your house, we might slow down and take a look at it. And that's what that is if you see them.
Great opportunity. And they might be stopping by a few of these residences. These are the scattered site housing. Let's give people an update first on 36th in Louisiana. What is the latest on that property?
So as soon as we close on that, and I believe that's going to be the 28th of August, as soon as we close on the land with Great Homes, you'll see some work starting to be done there. So the land is cleared, but they've got to dig a hole and start building, and that'll take, I'm guessing they're going to try to have that done before winter.
Okay, now over to 42nd and Boone, 2 lots there, and work just continues to fly along.
Well, the south lot, 4201, they poured the basement. Now that kind of surprised me, but apparently they frame in some of the upside, and then they do the framing in the downside, the basement, and then they pour the cement. So they're doing more framing, and the cement is in. They're looking to sell that house for $469. So keep your eyes open for that. If you want to watch the progress on that, you certainly can go over there and take a look at it.
Let's move now to 4965 Winnetka. We've talked a lot about this property and still in a phase of some work by other departments in the city. What's happening there?
Well, West Metro did some non-destructive work. West Metro Fire and Rescue District did some non-destructive work in the house at training. So they're done with that. In the meantime, we've sent out bills for demolition. We got the bids back and we'll look at them on the 28th of August. And once that's done, then we'll give the bid to somebody and you'll see that house come down pretty soon. That's going to be a double lot. We don't know yet exactly who's going to get that lot. And we don't know what the houses are going to look like, but know that there are 2 houses going on that property.
All right. Final property is 5802 Boone. Again, some activity happening there and some underground activity, it sounds like.
Well, if you've been by there, everything's cleared off that land. I thought maybe they could save that big, pretty tree, but they said they just couldn't do that. It's a pretty big lot. Well, in the meantime, what they're going to do is take the driveway off of Boone Avenue and move it onto Boone Circle. So the driveway is going to be moved. They're also putting in some sewer lines, and that got delayed a little bit because of the Boone closure. So that will happen in the next couple of weeks. It'll just be a little workaround there. Again, we're going to close on that property, the bids on the property on the 28th of August, and then you'll see some work being done.
Okay, a few other items from community development. The first is the business networking group. They've got a date coming up here with a great guest.
Well, that's September 2nd. It'll be at 2 o'clock at New Hope City Hall. The Center for Energy and Environment are going to come in and give us a little update on exactly what they do and their home energy squad that'll come out. It's one of those things that it's not just for the homes, it's for the businesses. So if you do have a business and you want to save some money on your energy costs, you might want to come to that meeting. It's free. There's usually donuts or coffee or something going on. And the meeting usually lasts an hour, and then there's some really fun networking going on after the meeting. So that'll be at City Hall, 2 o'clock on the 6th of September.
Very good. Lighted ball field. Some work is going to be coming there. Tell us about what is up at that field.
Well, we just got approval to do that. Well, the city council gave the approval to the Park and Rec Department to do the improvements on that. So you're going to see some improvements on that lighted field coming up.
And final note, we've talked about a business coming to the 42nd Winnetka area for a while, and it is now open. What is that business? It's
called Nautical Bowls. I read the menu. I didn't understand about 2 words of it, but they tell me it's like sweet stuff in a bowl. So like a yogurt ice cream kind of thing. Very nice place. They're going to be open from 9 a.m. to about 7, 8 o'clock at night. They're right next to Lifetime Fitness on Winnetka. So if you get a chance, stop in. They have little free samples if you want to sample something before you buy it. It's good, healthy stuff. And it looked pretty good to me.
Excellent. Stop in and get educated there. Let's move ahead to the police department, and active as always with a lot of training at this point going on. Give us an idea of the captains in chief. Where have they been in the past couple of weeks?
Well, they're doing their normal job, but they're also going to these other things. So the threat liaison officer training with the BCA, one of my captains went to that. My chief met with Representative Frazier to talk about the new laws and what they meant for the school resource officer that we have at Cooper High School. The youth intervention meeting with Hennepin County Attorney's Office happened with one of my captains. They also did an emergency management quarterly meeting. So they're busy going to all these meetings and participating wherever they can to get information. The other thing one of my officers did was they participated in 3 days of safety camp. Actually, 3 of my officers did. And so that was really fun for them because they start safety camp just in jeans and a t-shirt. And the kids don't realize they're police officers till the end when they show up in uniform. So it's really kind of fun, and these kids just love it.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about safety camp in a minute from the park and rec aspect, but I understand part of safety camp this year for the police was working with bees. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know if working with bees is the right idea.
Okay, getting rid of bees.
We had a whole bunch of bee stings on the very first day.
No.
And so we called Public Works to come and eradicate the bees. I think it was an underground nest, a ground nest.
Mm.
So they came out and they weren't really sure how they were going to do this, but I think they got the kids away from the bees and they took care of the bees. So, not only are they doing their public work stuff, they're going above and beyond and taking care of bees.
All right, all sorts of departments getting together to help there. Let's go on with Public Works. A couple things that they're doing related to water. One is related to checking on usage, and another is a well check. Give us some more details on those.
So what happens in the summer is a lot of people are watering their lawns, or they have a watering system, maybe that's got a leak in it. But if you're using the water, you're paying for it. And so what they do is when they look at the bills and the bills are really, really high, a lot of times Public Works will go out to the house and tell them they've got a real high water bill, and they check the meter to make sure the meter is right. Usually what happens is it's a break in one of their watering systems, or they water the grass a lot more than they think they did. And so, it's best they go out and check, and that's really nice that they go out and do that. So the other thing, the Honeywell, the city has an emergency water supply. And the reason we have that is it's a pump, and it's in the north part of the city. In the event that our water supply gets contaminated somehow, we have this emergency water supply. Well, we have to go out and check that, make sure the pumps are working, and also check the water to make sure it's good. So that's what they did this last week. They went out and checked that water, and it's working just fine. Hopefully we'll never have to use it, but it's awfully nice to have it there if we do.
One other note from Public Works, they are attending some regular meetings with MnDOT. So again, beyond all the work they're doing out on the roads, they are in touch with MnDOT on a lot of that big work happening by 169.
Well, because that's not city work that's happening, that's the county or the state. So they're having these weekly meetings with them just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. They know what's going to happen. Some of the work they expect us to do in the city because they're city streets, and some of the work they're doing, but it's just a nice collaboration. So everybody knows where we are in the project and what's happening and who's supposed to be doing what. So that's always exciting to know that we're doing that.
A little more insight on a few of the projects that are going on out on the roads in the area. And you're going to get a little education here from the mayor about what is a base course, a base coat, and also what's the final coat or drive coat. What's happening with some of the roads and how's that moving along?
Okay, so most of the people who are having work done know they're having work done. But if you happen to drive by and you wonder what in the world is going on, so what happens is they ground off the top of the blacktop. They put down a base coat, and then they put rocks on top of that. And then those rocks sit there for about a week or so and kind of get smushed in. And then a truck comes by and scoops up all the rocks. In the meantime, after the rocks are scooped up, they do some backfilling back of the curb or any grass that needs to be repaired, all those other kinds of repairs. And then they do what's called fog seal. They put on this, it's kind of like laminating the rocks in place. So they put on this fog seal to keep those rocks in place. What that does is it waterproofs the road, so water doesn't get in. It doesn't affect the curing process that's going on. So it's a long process, and it's kind of messy. And if it's your neighborhood that's getting that, it's like, oh, I wish this would be over. But they've all been notified what's happening and keep them informed. But if you just happen to drive by and go, oh my gosh, that's what's happening.
There you go. Road Construction 101. One other update on 42nd Avenue you wanted to mention around Applebee's and the shopping center there, a little bit of a traffic change.
So that entrance from 42nd into Applebee's, that's been getting some work on the curb and the pavement going in. So if you're going to Applebee's, you're going to have to enter from the Wanetka side because you can't get in the other way. Or you can enter from the Hy-Vee parking lot and go around. But just know you can't get off on 42nd to get into Applebee's. That's going to be a couple more weeks before that gets open. So keep an eye on that. We've also closed off Zealand and Aquila off of 42nd. And they were not doing any work on those streets. But why we did that was a lot of people were cutting through because they couldn't get through on Xylon. So they were cutting through the neighborhood, and that's a really a quiet neighborhood street. So we shut those two streets off so that people will have to go to Boone to get to where they're going north instead of cutting through the neighborhoods.
And here's a handy website if you want to check out more about that construction in that area. It is newhopemn.gov/. 42nd Avenue Construction. So 42NDAVE Construction. You can find out more about that whole project right there. All right, let's move ahead to Park and Rec. Lots of activity. Let's head back to the safety camp and give a little bit more of a recap of some of the fun there and some great numbers again.
Well, 60 kids signed up, 3rd to 5th graders. They love it. So they go in the pool, they learn fire safety, they learn electrical safety, traffic safety. The whole thing is about keeping the kids safe. We can't put on safety camp unless we have a whole bunch of really generous sponsors. So I'm going to read them so I don't miss any of them. So they were Jensen, Sandro, and Woods. That's an attorney's firm. The Minnesota Regional Chamber of Commerce, the West Metro VFW Post 7051, the New Hope Women of Today, Stantec Engineering, New Hope Crime Prevention Fund, and Beacon Academy. All of those donated to this, plus other places that were giving us food. So we fed the kids lunch every day. And then at the graduation, Frankie's came in with potato salad and beans and hot dogs and ice cream. So thanks to all the people that contributed to making this a fun time for those 60 kids.
Fantastic. Yes, a big community effort. Let's talk about some other things going on and coming up in the Park and Rec area. And one is flag football. This sounds fun, and it sounds like some background work happening.
I want to think it's still summer.
Yeah.
When you're talking football, it's not summer.
Right.
But it takes a long time to get this all in place. So they're doing the flag football groups now. We're always looking for volunteer parents. And if you volunteer to be part of this, your kid will get a free entrance into the program. So if you're a parent and you want to be a volunteer to help with this flag football, love to have you. So they're doing that, all scheduling. They're just about done with that.
All right, here's something fun coming up for the fall that people probably have been waiting for, is planting some trees. So give us a little recap from the forester of the work that's been done and what's coming up next.
So all these trees that were on the boulevard that had to come down, the ones, some of them or most of them are down that had to come down. What they did is they gave the residents a list of replacement trees that you could pick out the tree that you wanted planted. So they're going to try to get those trees planted in September and October. But if they run out of weather or just time, that'll be done in the spring then. So if you don't get your tree planted, keep in mind that it's probably going to get done in the spring. And if you've gotten your list and you haven't told them what tree you want, you need to do that really soon, because they need to order these trees to get them planted in September and October.
All right, let's hop around to a few of the recreational amenities in the city. The first is golf course. You see the picture behind the mayor there. How is the golf course activity going on as we're into August?
Oh, this is tournament time. So lots of tournaments, private little tournaments. They have these long-term tournaments that they've had forever. So there's been a lot of that going on. Now the junior league, they are done this week, so they won't be out there anymore. And all the other leagues, they're having their banquets after golf this week. And then the fall league starts. So if you want to play in the fall league, now's the time to sign up. If you look in the In Motion, it'll tell you what it costs to be in the fall league. Also, if you want to get a season pass to play as much golf as you can while the fall season. But the course looks just beautiful. And it's in really good shape, and I refuse to say it's winter yet.
All right, I agree with you. And here's that In Motion. So if you want to check inside here, this is the latest edition that came out not too long ago. You can check about the golf course and some of the activities. Also, you'll find information in there about the ice arena. And the ice arena is still busy at this point, plus something new up on one of the walls. What's that?
So we had a couple of what they call elite tournaments this last weekend. And so now that's done. Mostly there's some free skating. There's some open skating. And then there's the skate groups that go in pretty regularly. We ordered a new scoreboard for the South Rink. That came in, and they'll put that in September. So that's going to keep them kind of busy. And
some new nets, right?
We got 2 new hockey nets from a grant that we got from Hennepin County. So those nets will go up right away. So ice arena's busy. They're getting ready for the fall winter season there.
All right. And one other facility to touch on, and unfortunately we have to pass along that it is now closed, but a great year once again for the aquatic park.
You know, I always wonder why it closes so early, and I always ask staff, and they always tell me the same thing. What happens is the kids, the lifeguards, and the concession workers go back to school.
Mhm.
And so a lot of them are college students, and we can't have a pool if we don't have lifeguards. And so this is the time to do that. So now the pool is closed. Now the real work begins. They'll empty the pool, they'll clean it. They're cleaning the bathhouses at the moment and the concession stands and all that other stuff, and they'll get everything put away and tucked away. You'll see the water go out of the pool, and then it gets cleaned, and then they put a little more water in because they have to hold that bottom of the pool down. So it was a tremendous season. And so thank you to the staff. Just one other thing, my police chief last week gave an award to 4 of the workers at the pool. There was an incident on the 28th of June where they pulled a child out of the pool, and the staff was just amazing, not to mention the staff from North Memorial that came to help, and the West Metro Fire Rescue District, and our police officers had a very successful outcome, but it was because of the clear thinking of those 4 kids. And they are kids, the kids at the pool that actually stepped in right away and kept their heads on this.
Congratulations to all those involved. A couple more updates for you. Let's go to the finance department. Recent information about the audit, some great news, and also award for reporting. Tell us more.
Well, every year we have to get an audit from MMKR, and they came in and they said that the audit was clean. That's the best they can do, is say it's a clean audit. They always tell us it's nice to work with the city, but it's really good to know that we are getting audited and everything's in place. All of the procedures that we have are in place and we're doing them correctly. So it was nice to get that clean audit. The other thing, we got a certificate of achievement for excellence in reporting. And that was from a different group. And what that is because we are so transparent in all of our reporting, we don't hide anything. If you want to look at any of this stuff, go on to newhope.gov/finance, and you can look at this reporting. We want everyone to know exactly where their money's going and what's being spent and where it's coming from. So I feel really good about getting this award. We've been getting this award every year for numerous years.
There you see that website on the bottom of the screen, so you can go look at that information and find out more if you would like. To human resources, a couple updates here. We had a position opening and it looks like a lot of people were interested.
Apparently everybody wants to work for New Hope, and I can see why. We had 23 applicants for a maintenance worker position. 8 of those were certified, and they will go now to the personnel board on the 29th. We also did a Minnesota City salary and compensation survey. The reason we do that is we look at other Minnesota cities that are comparable to us and see what they're paying their employees. We don't want to be the highest, we don't want to be the lowest, we kind of want to be in the middle. And we want to make sure we keep our employees, and to do that, you need to know what other people are paying. And so we want to be fair and equitable with our employees.
Speaking of surveys, we want to remind residents opportunity for you to complete a survey. Tell us about the City Services Survey and why it's important to give your feedback.
We do this every year. You should have got something in your utility bill, and if you didn't, you can go online to newhopemn.gov/survey, and you can answer the questions online. It takes about 6 minutes. There's also a place where you can type in what you think is going on with the city, what you're happy about, what you're not happy about. We take comments. We don't like to think of them as problems. They're just comments, and it's ways for us to know how to improve. So you have until the 1st of October. We've gotten quite a bit in so far, but we'd like to see everybody's. And please don't do more than one, because that just kind of slants the results then.
Right.
So
all right.
we do read them, and not only does staff read them, I read everyone too.
One other note to pass you along to the website, newhopemn.gov, is the Community Police Academy, and you're still encouraging people to get involved for this great event. Again, remind people what the activity is here.
Well, the 3 cities of Crystal, New Hope, and Robbinsdale combine together, and they have this police academy. So you get a police officer from each of the 3 cities. This goes on for, I think, 7 or 8 weeks. It's free. It does fill up quickly. So if you're interested in doing this, it's usually a couple hours once a week, and you really get some really good information. and some hands-on stuff, what it feels like to hold a gun, what it feels like to be in a dark room and not be able to see. So these are really good things. You get another understanding of what our cops are going through.
Go to the city's website, again, newhopemn.gov, to find out more about that and many of the other things we talked about in the update today. And stick with us. We've got our calendar of events, a few of the things coming up in the city that you might want to get on your calendar. Mayor, as always, great to talk with you. We'll look forward to talk to you again next week.
And thanks, Dave. Fun stuff going on in New Hope.
And as always, we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.